Hello and welcome to another video. I hope that you're all very well. Today I'll be talking about the first few and the last few minutes of the driving test. Many learner drivers who fail their driving test do so in these vital minutes. So let's start off by taking a look at the first few minutes of the test. So why are so many mistakes made right in the beginning of the driving test? Well, the main reason is that this is when the nerves are at the highest point. This is when a person is most nervous. When you go for your driving test, you may have 101 things rushing through your head in the beginning. You may be thinking, hey, why is the driving examiner staring at me in such a way? Or you may be thinking, I hope I've created a good impression in front of the examiner. Alternatively, you may be worried about a particular maneuver. A lot of learner drivers, they worry about being asked to carry out the bay park in the test center itself, in the car park. They're worried about all the instructors watching them. The good news is that there are steps, positive steps that you can take to ensure that the nerves do not get the better of you, to ensure that you drive just as well in the beginning of the test as you would throughout the test itself. Firstly, many people tend to get nervous right in the beginning of the test because they are afraid of the unknown. If you are one of these people who do not know what to expect in the beginning of the test, if you tend to get afraid of the unknown, why not, at least a couple of weeks before the test, consider visiting the driving test center. Go into the waiting room, familiarize yourself with the waiting room, familiarize yourself with the car park, with the entrance to the car park and the exit to the car park. Being in a familiar environment will reduce the possibility of your nerves getting the better of you. Secondly, when you go for your driving test, do not expect the examiner to be sitting down like this, just staring into the road ahead. Driving examiners will tend to sit at an angle like so. This way they can look at the road ahead and they can be watching you in the driving seat. Driving examiners have a job to do, which is to assess your driving. And in order for them to assess your driving, they need to be watching you. They need to be watching your eyes, they need to be watching your hands, and they need to be watching your feet. So let the driving examiner do their job. Do not worry about them watching you. You also have a job to do, which is to drive to the best of your ability. Focus on your driving and let the examiner do their job. There is a possibility that if the driving test center has a car park, you could be requested to carry out either the forward or the reverse bay park exercise even before you leave the car park. Now, this normally puts a lot of pressure on learner drivers right in the beginning of the test. However, it has many advantages. Firstly, carrying out the maneuver right in the car park itself means that you will not have to carry out a maneuver on the public road. It's actually easier to carry out a reverse maneuver in the car park, in the test center car park, than outside, either in a public car park or on a public road. Why is it easier? Well, firstly, you don't get ordinary members of the public who are unaware of what you are doing. In the car park, in the test center car park, there may be other instructors, there may be several instructors, there may be several learner drivers. However, they will all be aware that you are doing a driving test, and they will give you the space to do it in. So that's the first advantage. And the other thing you have to bear in mind is a lot of learner drivers get worried because they think, oh, I'm under pressure, I might make a mistake. No one says that you have to carry out the maneuver at the first go all in one. Take your time. You can take as much time as you want to do the maneuver, and even if you get it wrong, let's assume you're doing a reverse bay park, but you end up in the middle of two boxes. It's not a fail unless you left the car there, provided you looked over your shoulders, made sure it was clear, you moved forward, and then looked over your shoulders again and came back, rectified the fault. That will be a pass. You'll get a minor mistake, but nevertheless it will still be a pass. Now that we've spoken about the first few minutes of the driving test, let us move on to the last few minutes. Why are so many mistakes made right at the end of the driving test? Well, it can't be nerves, because you've been driving for half an hour already. Well, there are several reasons. One of these reasons is that learner drivers, they recognize that they are approaching the driving test center. They realize that the driving test is coming to an end, and they start thinking about the past half an hour of what has been done. They start having thoughts like, that mistake I had made at the roundabout, was it a serious mistake? Or was it a minor mistake? Did the examiner even realize the mistake? Maybe they didn't even spot the mistake. Maybe I may just be lucky. Well, whether you think about the mistakes or you don't think about the mistakes will have no difference, will make no difference at all to the result of the driving test. However, what you need to do is make a decision. Make a decision whether you want to focus on the past mistakes or whether you want to focus in the road ahead. That is what will make a difference to the driving test result. Some learner drivers simply start to feel tired towards the end of their driving test. However, once again, there are positive steps that you can take. Consider taking a small bottle of water with you and place it somewhere easily accessible. During the driving test, you'll be asked to pull up on the left and move off again several times. You can use this as an opportunity to take a small sip of water if needed. Research has shown that just a 1% loss of water fluid, body water fluid, can affect your performance. So keep hydrated and keep your performance at top level. Finally, let's move on to being comfortable in the driving test. And this means dressing comfortably as well. Ideally, you want to dress in the same way as you would dress in a driving lesson, in your normal driving lessons. If you normally wear old ripped up shoes in your driving lesson, then you want to wear the same old ripped up shoes in the driving test. You do not want to wear a new pair of shoes for the test. You want to try to keep everything as the same that happened in your driving lessons. Keep everything similar. Keep everything familiar. Being comfortable also means having a comfortable temperature in the vehicle. So make sure before the test that you understand the heating controls of the car and you adjust them according to you. I hope you found this video beneficial. If you have, then please share this video with somebody else, because by sharing the video, you're helping the channel to grow. Thank you for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.